quite, pretty, rather and fairly. 4 small words that English learners mix up every single day. In this lesson you will learn exactly how strong each one is, what attitude it carries, and where it goes in a sentence. One quick note before we start. Every example sentence in this video was written for teaching. The people and situations in them are invented, and the guidance follows standard British usage. All 4 of these words are degree adverbs. They sit in front of an adjective or an adverb and tell us how much. Fairly cold, quite cold, rather cold. Every one of them lands somewhere between a little and very, but they are not interchangeable. 4 things separate them: strength, attitude, register, and word order. Let us take them one at a time. Here is the rough strength order. A bit is the smallest. Fairly is mild and gentle. Quite sits in the middle. Pretty is about the same strength as quite but far more casual. Rather is noticeably stronger, and very sits at the top. Treat this as a guide, not a rule, because tone of voice can shift any of them. Fairly is the gentlest of the 4. It means a moderate degree, and it carries no attitude at all. The exam was fairly easy. Easy, but not very easy. It is mild praise rather than enthusiasm. It is fairly common in British English. That is neutral and factual, and it is perfectly comfortable in writing. And notice that fairly works with adverbs too. She speaks Spanish fairly well. Now quite, and this is the tricky one because it has 2 completely different meanings. Meaning number 1, when quite comes before an ordinary gradable adjective in British English it means to a moderate degree. The film was quite good. Good but not great. Quite can also modify a verb. I quite like jazz means I like it moderately. And it is quite cold today means noticeably cold, without going as far as very cold. Meaning number 2, put quite in front of an absolute adjective, one that cannot be measured in degrees, and the meaning flips completely. You are quite right does not mean moderately right. It means completely right. That is quite impossible means totally impossible. And here is the pair to remember. I quite like it means I like it a moderate amount. I quite agree means I agree completely. Here is the whole picture in one place. With a gradable adjective like good, cold or tired, quite means moderately. With an absolute adjective like right, impossible or perfect, quite means completely. With an extreme adjective like amazing, it means absolutely. And not quite means not completely. If you are not quite ready, you are nearly ready. One warning. In American English, quite before an ordinary adjective usually leans towards very. So quite good can sound like genuine praise in the United States and only mild praise in Britain. Rather is stronger than fairly, and it almost always carries an attitude. The hotel was rather expensive tells you it cost more than the speaker expected. It is a soft complaint. It is rather cold in here is a very British way of saying it is too cold, please shut the window. And with actually in front of it, rather signals a pleasant surprise. The book was rather good, actually. Think of it this way. Fairly is flat. Rather has a raised eyebrow. With a negative adjective it softens a complaint. Rather rude, rather disappointing, rather slow. With a positive adjective it often means better than expected. Rather clever, rather lovely. And speakers use it to be indirect and polite. I am rather busy today is a gentle no. Swap in fairly and the attitude disappears. Fairly expensive is just a price. Rather expensive is an opinion. Pretty is roughly as strong as quite, but the difference is register. It is informal and it belongs in conversation. The test was pretty hard, sounds completely natural with a friend, and risky in an exam essay. Pretty sure, pretty good, and pretty tired are everywhere in spoken English. And watch out for pretty much, which is a fixed phrase meaning almost completely. It is pretty much finished. Now the rule that catches almost everybody. Word order in front of a or an. Quite jumps in front of the article. Quite a good film is correct. A quite good film is not. Rather is the flexible one. Both rather a good film and a rather good film are fine. Fairly and pretty go the other way round. They stay inside. A fairly good film. A pretty good film. Never fairly a, and never pretty a. Four corrections you can use straight away. Number 1. Not a quite good film, but quite a good film. Quite goes in front of a and not after it. Number 2. Not fairly impossible. Fairly means a middling degree, so it cannot modify an absolute adjective. Say quite impossible. Number 3. Not I pretty agree with you. Pretty and fairly modify adjectives and adverbs, not verbs. Quite is the one that works with a verb. I quite agree. And number 4. If you want the window shut, it is rather cold in here, not fairly cold. That last one is not broken grammar. It simply says the wrong thing. Five lookalikes to keep separate. Would rather is about preference, not degree. I would rather stay in means I prefer to stay in, and it takes a bare infinitive, rather than means instead of. We walked rather than took the bus. Pretty much and pretty well both mean almost completely. Not quite means not completely, so if you are not quite ready, you are nearly there. And quite a few does not mean a few. It means a fairly large number. Quite a few people came. So which ones belong in your writing? Fairly is safe everywhere. It is neutral and it works in formal writing. Quite works too, though remember it can be read differently by British and American readers. Rather is fine and slightly formal, but it always carries an opinion, so use it deliberately. Pretty is the one to avoid on paper. For IELTS writing, fairly, quite, and rather are all acceptable. Pretty is not, and if you want to sound more precise, relatively, moderately, and considerably are stronger academic choices.
Time to practice. 5 gaps and each one has a hint underneath. Pause the video now, choose between quite, pretty, rather, and fairly, and then play on for the answers. Here they are. Number 1, fairly clear, mild and neutral, with no attitude. Number 2, quite right. Right is absolute, so quite means completely. Number 3, rather cold. You are hinting at a complaint. Number 4, pretty good. Informal because you are chatting with a friend. And number 5, not quite ready, meaning not completely ready. In number 3, quite cold would also be grammatical. It simply loses the hint.
Let us pull it together. Fairly is mild and neutral, safe everywhere, with no attitude attached. Quite is moderate with ordinary adjectives and completely with absolute ones, and it goes in front of a and an. Rather is noticeable, and it carries surprise or a soft complaint. Pretty is the same strength as quite but informal, so keep it out of your essays. Before you choose, ask yourself 2 questions. How strong and what attitude? That is quite pretty, rather and fairly. If this made things clearer, subscribe to BMaster79 for more English grammar and IELTS lessons. practice these 4 in your own sentences today, and I will see you in the next video.